Before there was Fight Club, there was Lionheart. Just joking, let's get into it. Hey, welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is doing well out there. And I am not implying this movie is anywhere near as good as Fight Club. I love Fight Club, but I also love Lionheart, but for different reasons. Let's get into it a little bit. This movie came out January of 1990. The funny thing was, this film was made after Death Warrant, but just got released before Death Warrant. Death Warrant came out later that year in 1990 in September. So Van Damme had two movies out that year. It's an hour and 45 minutes long. It's rated R. It had a budget of $6 million, and upon release, it made over $24 million, which was a nice size hit for Van Damme at the time. Actually, they were planning on making a sequel for this, but it never materialized, which it would have been cool if they would have. I loved this movie as a kid, and I still like it to this day. I just watched it last night again. This movie was directed by Sheldon Lettich, and he had written on Bloodsport with Van Damme. He directed Van Damme here, and then he went on the next year to direct Van Damme again in Double Impact, which I like that film as well. And the cast here, we got Jean-Claude Van Damme as Lion, since Lionheart. Harrison Page plays Joshua, his manager, who he meets when he gets to America. Deborah Renard plays Cynthia, who is not a very nice person. And Brian Thompson makes an appearance as Russell, and everybody remembers Brian Thompson if you're an 80s action fan. It's the night slasher from Cobra. But he was also in Fright Night 2 and a bunch of other films. He's had a long career of playing character roles. And basically, this film is Van Damme. In the beginning of the film, we see this guy trying to make a drug deal, and he screws the drug dealer over, and he gets killed. Well, he gets set on fire. And he ends up in the hospital, and then we find out he's a wife and a small daughter, young daughter. Daughter looks maybe 7 or 8 years old. And the wife sends a letter to his brother, who is Jean-Claude Van Damme, who is in the French military. And he wants to leave so he can go visit his brother, and his commander pretty much tells him to stick it up his ass. And he fights his way out and deserts his post, and he hops on a ship and makes it to America. When he gets to America, he has no money, doesn't know anybody. This is when he stumbles upon, by walking around the city, he stumbles upon this fight going on under this overpass, or under this bridge. It's not really an overpass, it's like under this bridge area. And these guys are going at it, and Joshua, played by Harrison Page, has a bunch of money. People are betting on who's going to win. Underground Fight Club, baby, only this time it's more about gambling and money than anything else. It's not like in David Fincher's film. And after the fight's over, Van Damme's like, he realizes he could use some money, so he goes, I'll fight next, and he ends up kicking this guy's ass and winning some money. And Joshua's like, I think we can make some more money if you want. And he talks him into going to talk to Cynthia, and he ends up fighting again and winning, but he wants to get to LA to see his brother and check in on his family. He goes to LA. Joshua goes with him because he says to him, you don't know your way around. I've been all over the place. I can show you around. Joshua's a real salesman here. And he goes with him, and he tracks down his brother, but unfortunately his brother has passed away. And he tracks down his family. He gets a less than warm reception from his brother's wife, and he's kind of depressed a little bit about it because they're the only family he has left, and he ends up hooking up with Cynthia, comes to LA, and he ends up starting a fight for money to support his brother's family because they don't have money, and now they have all these medical bills and they're going to get thrown out of his apartment. And he goes from fight to fight, winning money. He starts helping the family. Eventually, his brother's wife comes around to liking him, and he becomes really close with his brother's daughter, which is really sweet, by the way. And at the end, he has that one last fight against this big-ass dude who they don't tell him. Cynthia kind of sets him up that this guy's going to pummel his ass. And, of course, Van Damme, being an 80s action hero and 90s action hero, Van Damme wins through he struggles through most of the fight, but then he finally kicks the guy's ass. And we have a happy ending in Lionheart. Is this movie any good? It is a hell of a good time with some badass fights in it. That's what I will say. Is this movie perfect? Hell no. But I will say they do give Van Damme a lot of lines. Like, he speaks probably more in this film than he does in most films. Although he does have a lot to say in Double Impact. But that was written and directed by the same guy. And the director even said, this is the first film Van Damme did up to that point where I actually gave him a lot of lines and I didn't try to hide, him speaking on film. I thought he could do it. And Van Damme is good in the film. Everybody does pretty well in this film. It's not perfect. Again, it's an 80s action movie that was released in 1990. But it's fun. The fights are exciting. They're pretty damn well shot. All the character actors in this movie do a good job. I enjoy the hell of this movie. I always have. I would give Lionheart an 8 out of 10. I actually really liked this film. And watching it again last night, I even liked it as much as I haven't seen it in a few years. I still really like this film. It's just a good, fun action film. Without any guns. It's just basically fights. Van Damme goes from fight to fight. And we know he's going to win, but they're pretty good. And you just have a good time with it. So yeah, 8 out of 10 for Lionheart. What are your thoughts on Lionheart? Have you ever seen it? Are you a fan of Van Damme as an action star? He's not my favorite action star, but I've always liked some of his movies. Universal Soldier, Double Impact, Bloodsport, Kickboxer, Hard Target, Maximum Risk. I like those films. Once he went to direct-to-video, I stopped watching some of his films. But I liked his films that went theatrical back in the day. I even like Death Warrant. It's a B movie, but I have a hell of a good time with that film. So if you have seen Lionheart, I just give it an 8 out of 10. Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Let me know if I'm crazy, whatever. I don't care. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Share this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves. And I'll be back soon with another review. Bye.